Now, when we say AI and predictive maintenance, what is the value we are getting out of that? How we are getting the value out of that? So by just enhancing the asset lifespan by 25%, this makes the longevity of those assets. By making those incidents, those false incidents or those incidents upfront, knowing the information about them, help us to stay ahead of the time. Reducing the downtimes for any unavoidable circumstances, downtime reduced by 55%. And then it helps to cut the cost maintenance. Now, it's not a cost center. Often people understand predictive maintenance is more of a cost center. No, it's a myth. Effectively, it's saving the cost for all those unknown incidents. In fact, just to add on, when we say what is there in the future, G20, we just concluded in India, they have the statements coming out of there that they are all G20 countries. They're going to spend 75 trillions on AI by 2013. That's huge. It's a huge market. And this is something for each one of us. G20 leaders, it's not about the productivity or the maintenance. They talk about sustainability, safe, secure, trusted environment for each one of us. Inclusion is something the key which G20 and in fact the UN talks about. And the last, human rights, privacy. So it's again not only about the productivity, the profitability. It's all about ecosystem, inclusion, sustainability. Let's move ahead. Now, as I said, I have my partner in crime, Dr. Ravi, who is heading AI and emerging technologies in Compinel. I would like to invite Ravi. Please quickly share your introduction before we move ahead.
Thank you so much, Manish, and very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm Dr. Ravi Changle. I had been working, since 15 plus years in the area of artificial intelligence, machine learning, data science, and all. Worked with a number of clients wherein we were working with right from farming equipment manufacturer to aerospace engineering, almost all the industries we work with. So this webinar is very close to our heart because it's about working on equipment failures. How exactly then we can ditch them, and then how we can achieve the success rate with digitization, rightly guided by AI ops and machine learning operations. So we'll be discussing at length, but I think we can just have the session briefings and the background of what exactly is the predictive maintenance all about, and then we can catch up on that.
I know very much how excited you are to get into those demos and being technical, so I can understand that. Let's go there. Let's try to, before we go, just a glimpse of what Compinel is. So at Compinel, we are more than 8,000 workforce, serving our 1,000 plus customers. Now, with those 1,000 plus customers, we are able to achieve 98% of CSAT survey. That's talks about our quality, delivery, and all the processes that we follow. And we are able to touch the lives of 2.5 million users across. So it's more of end-to-end, the customer's customer. And with all those years, we have able to achieve and got a good number of rewards, recognition to our forte. Be it the best workplace, be it the data with respect to awards on data and business aspect. We've been fastest growing company in last couple of years back to back. What is the motto now? Why we are able to deliver those? We basically believe on 3 different mantras. It's meaningful customer experience, measurable outcomes, and sustainable operational excellence. So whatever we do, sustainability is something the center of what we deliver, just to make sure that it's not for the near future. It's for the generation to come and make sure they are also able to leverage the benefits of AI. Moving ahead, I would like to invite Dr. Ravi, who's again heading the AI and emerging technologies, is just to guide us and the audience how we do it at Compinel, what kind of services, what kind of industries that we talk about. Over to you, Ravi.
Thank you, Manish, once again. So, dear audience, we know that the audiences are coming from heterogeneous backgrounds. We have got CXOs, and we have also the team who are working as senior data scientists. They might be in the project management, or they might be at the developer stage. So just to set up the background, and understand that how exactly AI works, or we are having the AI functionality at our premise, you can see that we are catering end-to-end solutions in terms of research, experimentation, innovation, and even working on co-create kind of a model environment wherein we can have working POCs that taking a shape of a big product with the clients. So therein we have nurtures with the entire ecosystem accordingly. So right from end-to-end machine learning operations, that's the heart of every particular program, because we talk about scalable, secured, and its simplest format of working all together. So having a continuous learning, training, deployments, everything that happens over there. Computer vision, IoT forensics, GIS analytics. Yes, we also support let's say the geospatial domain. I also supported in some of the projects with Componel, wherein we majorly worked out on remote sensing, satellite imagery, and furthermore projects. We also have doctorates within the team who are working phenomenally in terms of monitoring the Mars rover data sets, and then taking care of predictive maintenance over there. So this is what exactly is the technology and the functionality which we work upon. And we are actually working on different cloud platforms, helping the solutions to be cloud agnostic. Even we can also have on-prem development deployments, everything. And yeah, generative AI, this is the AI hype cycle which is working upon. So that's obviously we are focused on large language model operations, foundation model operations, that is FMOps, which are picked up recently. And the core of our services are offered towards the industries and the segments which are premium to us. Number one, we deal with BFSI, so we have end-to-end solutions for them. We have already have a good number of engagements. I'll discuss about those engagements, case studies. Even I'm very much excited to even share that, and very innovative things and revolutionary things we are doing in the banking domain as well. Healthcare, yes, definitely, yes. We are supporting healthcare, pharmaceutical, TMT, retail, and manufacturing. So these are like the kind of different verticals which we are already taking care of. Would love
And
to. Yeah.
I'm sure you have closely monitored the recent event of spaceship going to moon. So I'm sure you have recently, and you're just having an eye on that, correct?
Exactly, definitely, yes. So we'll discuss that as well. So let's
Sure.
go ahead. Yeah.
Let's move ahead. Yes.
Right. So these are the Manish, these are the client testimonials which we have. Working with different domains, we come across different kind of experiences, and with different industries, we have got these kind of very much the appreciations which we worked on their project. So one of the very core project which exactly is very much near and dear to everybody is the our workings with Michelin. So this is a great reciprocation from their side as well for the services which we offered. So apart from that, the SAN technologies which I was talking about, we worked very closely with some ex-ISRO scientists, and they were onboarded for the United Kingdom's program, where we supported them with the consulting approach on how exactly we can come up with automated approaches in terms of QGIS frameworks. World Bank, the big shots, in terms of giving the entire financial understanding to the ecosystem. They are major market movers, right? So this is what exactly is the kind of the testimonials which are coming, and this is what is being reciprocated thoroughly.
Really, these are the big names. Now, I think surely, and that was my next question you pointed out, is what numbers? So these are good testimonials. It's again coming from the senior leadership there. But what are the numbers? How you live? How you converted that kind of an experience to the numbers to benefit them?
Rightly said, Manish. So as you know that we are in predictive side, so definitely I got that understanding. So therefore, I'm discussing this that hey, in the particular automated tire domain, we worked on three major metrics. We had identified that how exactly these verticals can have reduction in terms of human involvement. That was around the 43%. 35% reduction was there in terms of testing cost. Apart from that, there was improvisation with 67% in terms of process efficiencies. So this is
So,
basically.
Ravi, do you think there is any specific area which is kind of not will get affected, or it's I'm sure this is end to end, but again, any particular area which is kind of it's directly hitting and just improving on those numbers, and which is the least one? Any kind of a differentiation on that?
So the thing is, like, if you talk about the differentiation over there, you can see that we are majorly focusing on the ROIs which are set before engagement, any kind of a client engagement. So we identify, we discuss those particular pointers, the KPIs, and accordingly we showcase those differentials before we take up that particular project. So definitely yes, we work on a kind of a holistic approach wherein we have set parameters, we have set particular goals, and on the basis of that we try to give something more. But one more thing, which is our mantra is that under commit and over deliver. So that's what we believe in. So therefore,
No, these numbers speaks very loud. I think that's where now even I'm sure the audience would be entitled, kind of enticed to get into that. But these numbers are really, when imagine coming at the landscape and comparing this with actual numbers and what exactly how they're kind of a transition.
Exactly.
It's exactly the great numbers.
Same happened with financial management services, where we leveraged natural language processing techniques for AI-driven intelligent document retrieval system. Even before the launch of GPT environment, we were working on that. In 2021, we personally worked on GPT's very first model, and we found that it was not working as per the bird's success at that moment, but it has picked up very nicely. Since then, we are aware how exactly we can play with the transformers, how exactly we can do the game-changing strategies, employ those particular strategies for better ROIs. So
I think BFSI being the kind of the top, it's kind of the favorites for AI, or maybe the vice versa. So
exactly. We'll discuss about the current projects as well. I mean, if the time permits, wherein we are actually working on some revolutionary things in the banking, working on, let's say, avoidance of the old lexicon methodologies, working more on the large language side, and even at the same time making it more scalable for the banks. Yeah.
So let's move on. And I don't want to get into these numbers, and let's get into the actual how things are being done at AI level. So let's go there. Okay, before coming to going there, I just want to just appraise the audience here, why exactly there is a need, so much hype of predictive maintenance, why we are conducting this. The idea here is just to kind of educate, share the knowledge in terms of why this is required. And the best way to do is take some scenarios, take some real-time examples which happened in the past, those incidents where there is impact in terms of loss, life, in terms of, I would say, profitability, operations, all that impacted. So key examples, I think HSBC being part of BFSI, the online banking outrage, that was a key happen in 2015, where the complete system was down. And this was because of some of the technical issues at the back end. And there was a huge cry in terms of the customer satisfaction. They were not able to access, and there was a complete shutdown. Similar example was more in terms of aviation industry. With Boeing being premier into the aviation industries, there were two incidents happened in 2018 and 2019 just because of those sensors not working, some of the automated malfunctioning of some of those automated systems. I think and again, you never know. There must be some signals, but were those taken care? Was those addressed and monitored by Boeing? You never know. So on other side, Equifax, Visa, those were the two data breach, or I would say data leakage issues, where the instances 2017 and 2018, which was purely into cybersecurity. I'm sure this has been a huge, because those were two related to the financial data, and I think it was more severe. The last one, which is more now, it's not only about the profitability of an organization. It's also impacting the ecosystem, the sustainable environment. So I think the deep water, the oil leakage, I think back in 2010, that was a major impact, not only on the operations, not only the machinery, but the ecosystem. The water pollution, the air pollution, I think that was the key, and that was not good. So I think this reasons, and I said, there must be some parameters, some data is there, but were those being monitored? Were those being calculated and maybe analyzed for just to make sure that some proactive actions can be taken? I think that these are the reasons. Now we talk about, so we have seen those instances. Now, what are those parameters? We talk about multiple parameters there. I want to highlight, we have listed more than 10 parameters here, which might have impacted those, but few of those are the wear and tear. Every asset or every machinery, be it the hardware, be it the kind of a services, there is a lifespan. Those needs to be revisited. Those needs to be maintained at a certain point of time. If we talk about hardware, there's everything which is maybe 5 years of lifespan. If we can address those, in case if there is any mishappening or there's kind of any scenario where not working, there's a loss of it. Somewhere range $50,000 to $1 lakh. And I think that's where 2 weeks of downtime, combining these, there is a huge loss of profitability, operations, customer support, customer satisfaction, end customers getting impacted. Second, we talk about the human kind of environment. I think in it, I would say that environment get hampered. All those parameters where the leakage, the pollution, the downtime due to those may be small incidents, those get avoided, but those 1 week of downtime could have lost somewhere around about more than $50,000. Human error, training, how the machinery is being handled, how the servers, how those assets being handled. Do we have the training for to our manpower? I think that's where the key. So adequate training is a must. Moving on to the next one, where again, inadequate monitoring. We talk about the data is there. Are we monitoring those? Have we taken any kind of inference out of those data? I think that's the key. So all this, there are multiple factors with the severity, different level that may impact at a different level to different industries. But those keys, those factors are critical to monitor, to take care of, to get the inference out of that and take predictive actions. I think with this, we would like to, now we have gone through why it is required. Let's talk about what exactly. So by now we have understood what is predictive maintenance. So just to give a quick recap of what is predictive maintenance, there's nothing but the methods, different methods where software and hardware can come together with the means of tools, various hardware tools, along with human intervention. That's must is required to give that intelligence where exactly to act, to monitor equipments, machineries, processes, practices, make sure we get the data out of those assets. For what purpose? Just to make sure we can make out meaningful trends around those anomalies. If there's something happening wrong, we just see the trend so that we can analyze those risk factors and make sure that we have those preventive measures very much in advance, even before it's happening, in an effective and efficient way. So I think with this, I would like now, let's go ahead and see different kinds of case studies. Ravi, would you like to just go through this? Maybe anything that you want to, very close to you and which you have handled closely.
So the close to my heart once again, and close for everybody, because we are talking too much on AI for good. So that goodness we are always keeping in every of our our delivery or solution aspect. So we keep a very strong check on that. We are also giving it back to the society, to the nature, the mother nature, and therein we are helping the let's say organizations to have a clean environment practice. Air pollution monitoring is one of such case study which we are working upon very closely. I myself was let's say very much involved on teaching the SDG goals, that is the Sustainable Development Goals, certified by Microsoft, and it's a 2030 United Nations goal framework which we are using and working for. So with that thing in mind, we are already helping the companies and let's say organizations, even the government or agencies, wherein we are taking care of air pollution monitoring. This is basically nothing else but identifying right set of model framework which we can use, right set of platforms we can devise, so that we can keep a track on the emissions that is coming from the let's say heavy industries and the factories, and then we, on the basis of that, we can devise a system wherein we can penalize, or maybe we can help the organizations to even cut down on that particular carbonization. So it's a decarbonization projects which we are basically involved.
So, Ravi, do you think it's only limited to, I would say it's limited only to the manufacturing companies? I don't think so. So if you talk about the pollution is also happening into the software industry.
That's a great thing here, because even we take care that whatever the computes we are using, the kind of devices, the hardwares, they are also producing that greenhouse. So in that case, we are also monitoring the data centers. We have right set of devices which exactly are being installed in our own data centers at premise of our office. That. So we are taking care of those particular things even. Everybody know that millions of the tons of CO2 was basically emitted when the GPT model was trained. So you can see that heavy computing and these kind of transformers basically causing more pollution in terms of the greenhouse emissions, right? So
yeah. Apart from that, I think the manufacturing being the key, I think that's the base and a very easy implementation of the AI, where we can what I can relate is we did that, automating the processes and all those machines with the use of all the smart devices and collecting the data on top of it. I think that was I would say, perfect case study for on the manufacturing industries, helping them again ahead of time, defining their processes, talking about their customer support. I think that's what helps them to keep ahead of the time. So I think those were the two case studies. We have two more. One was very close again in terms of grid management. It's more of how the power sector gets the power distribution to the last mile. I think that's the key. The different failures, power leakage. I think those are the predictive. And again, power leakage from where it is being generated and to where this is consumed. There's a huge channel. Now, at what level, what kind of losses, I think those can be managed and kind of controlled through predictive maintenance. And the last one, I think this is again, and this is not limited, I would say, fleet management. This is any logistic company, anything what exactly the retail industry, which again, more getting into now delivering last mile. They need to control. They have kind of all those mechanisms. They need to control. They are, I would say, the vulnerable side of it, where exactly they can lose dollars of money in terms of just with the not against, I would say, in the fuel loss of fuel across the delivery chain. So I think with that, and those are not limited. As I said, this is not limited to those four areas. This can be kind of industry agnostic, I would say. So let's now, I think this is time where Ravi will be the kind of a Pied Piper for us. He'll be just taking us through. So Ravi, it's over to you now.
Thank you, Manish, once again. And here we talk about innovations in AI-powered equipment maintenance side. We were that we not only the manufacturing sector, but the service sector also requires the due diligence on their equipments. Right away from the banking side, where we are having payment gateways, we are having the vaults, we are having ATM machines, to IT centers where exactly there are data centers in place, or maybe it could be an infrastructure company wherein they are taking care of huge installations in the buildings, like they have elevators and all. So there, all this areas basically requires the kind of the solutioning. So what is innovation here? Innovation is nothing else but in our from our side, what we have brought forward is whatever was already being discovered, let's use that approach and then help the manufacturing and service industry both at the same time, so that they can not only see the predictive maintenance happening at the manufacturing level or processing at the heavy industry level. At the same time, the service industries also can opt for it. They can be failures of processes, right? They can be failures of devising a software development system, so that everywhere we can definitely make use of it. See how innovative exactly it is, and what is the major approach which we use. So the FME approach, basically, which is failure mode and let's say effect analysis, is being coincided a long time back in 1940s only by US military in so that they can come up with the better strategies. Even the term strategy comes from the same. So here you can see that when we are talking about creating a failure mode effective analysis, there we are helping the organizations to have a risk priority number in place, so that they can identify risk prioritizations, what projects, what risks are involved, be it a manufacturing, again I recall, or be it a particular service sector workaround. So what are the project risks involved? How exactly we can identify those risks? What could be the bottlenecks in devising the entire end-to-end, delivering the entire the project? And then on the base of that, we have the critical assessments. Again, we make use of metrics and AI being there. So it helps us to integrate all the systems, right, from the data source engagements to, let's say, printing the or getting the dashboards. Now the dashboards are not only with the commands and the codes, now they are with voice. So voiceover based dashboard generation. That's all innovations which we are bringing in. We'll discuss about much fascinating things in coming slides. But yeah, here is what exactly our framework which we use. We'll be also releasing a very AI cookbook over here for the strategies for having double enterprise value gain, that is 2x, and the audience can get the benefit out of it.
So Ravi, now how about, let's say you talk about FMEA. Now, is it limited to any particular department, or is something where we say it's okay, it's within the organization, it is kind of a collaborative effort where things take place?
Rightly said. So where there is an action, there would be a failure, chances of failure. So wherever we are having an action, we can definitely employ this, in short.
Okay, sure. That's good. I think this is something very, let's see how this is being implemented.
So since we are talking about, let's say, innovations, we are also innovating in terms of how exactly we can have machines to machines talking to each other. So we are also leveraging generative AI capabilities, having bot frameworks, large language model transformers, right, to work on the ecosystem with the cloud interfaces. And these form models, the machines which we have can have a discussion amongst them. For example, you're sitting in your cabin right now, and if you see that, hey, there would be a kind of a hike in the temperature in the data center room, right? So you can directly from the let's say the chatbot, you can just connect to that data center machines and let's say the racks, and you can just throw a message that, hey, what exactly is the sensor, is the temperature over there? The wireless sensor which are installed over there will just communicate, will understand, scan the environment, will send the message back to you that, hey, this is the condition. Now it will also recommend that now everything is fine, but yeah, I predict that after some time, let's say maybe after 2 hours, we can have abnormal rise in the temperature. That's how exactly you can think of it. And then the machines can give the instruction to other machine that, hey, I need this particular product or a lubricant, and then it is being what we can say transited by a forklift. So that's how exactly you can see that ecosystem is working hand in hand together with these support. Wherever there is a kind of a traditional data sets, there is no electronic records. These wireless sensors which we're talking about can be helpful. Then they can be integrated with the bots so that they can interact with each other.
That's great.
So these are the capabilities which we're talking about. The team is capable enough to work on any of the sensor workarounds, presenters, actuators, having the embedded solutions, and then we can work on creating the virtualized environment. So we call it VSPU, Virtual Sensor Processing Unit. So we are working for the clients wherein we want to leverage the less number of physical infrastructures and more virtual infrastructure. So we are not saying that we are 100% replacing the let's say the hard device or the sensor which exactly should be installed, but we are saying that in long run we can save the cost in having additional sensors within the companies. So therein we are keeping it optimized from the cost part.
I think that's the myth. I think I've shared this earlier as well. This is a myth where when we are investing on these assets, is this a cost, or indirectly it's how this is helping overall profitability?
Right. So earlier there were the kind of legacies wherein the systems were there in such a way that they used to be integrated with the electric circuits and all. Now we are having the edges of the softwares and the sensors wherein they can just scan by just keeping the devices nearby a machine or a particular equipment, and basis that we can record the gyroscope information, the kind of acceleration happening, or maybe the kind of the vibration and the sound waves which are coming over there. So all these things basically are now collected in a very easy manner. It's not like that we have to create a complex system. It's only that PLCs only would be there, then only I'll be capturing those information, right? So that has made this things easy. So that investment in the PLCs, integrations, etc., other vendor for identifying the vendor for that, it's now reduced. So that way we have saved the cost. Yeah.
Got it. No, this is promising. This is something where I'm sure every one of us can leverage.
And talking finally about the different varieties of AI aspects, because AI itself is divided into 3 domains: artificial narrow intelligence, right? Working as a kind of one of my, let's say, junior or subordinate, right? Though we are at colleagues over there, but the agent can be supporting me as a subordinate. When it comes to, let's say, artificial general intelligence, it could be working like my colleague or a companion, and it can also guide me somewhere where I can have some recommendation. That is artificial super intelligence, but still long way to go to that. So what we have done is we have categorized AI in terms of different fields of information gathering. So IoT based workarounds, generative AI, computer vision, machine learning operation, that's what we are working upon. The industries which I mentioned again are there, and right side you can find that useful solutions. For example, digital therapeutics, we are focusing more for healthcare domains, right? Remotely monitoring the patients, working on the failure predictions over there in terms of their body parts and all. So this is how exactly the things are evolving. So that's what image analytics and video analytics I already mentioned. These are major core services which we offer.
I think there's a good implementation we've seen in health, where those old age homes and the monitoring of old age
Right.
through using
Senior
wearables.
homes.
That's
Correct.
one of the keys. It's correct. That's good. And I think this is where we were talking about again. Now, this is more of talking about the maturity model of predictive maintenance. So before we go ahead, so just for the audience, we have a poll here. We would expect them to just share your opinion in terms of at what level of the predictive maintenance they are. But before that, just to help you understand what exactly this maturity model and what are the different stages, Ravi, would you just help us again what those methods or what are those mechanisms where we can identify that this is what level I am in and how we can leverage to the next one.
Obviously, yes, it's very clear and precise here that we have got different levels of maturity. Understand that maturity makes us perfect, because let's say if I talk about a small kid, right? If you directly ask him to you do the kind of the workarounds on, let's say, programming or bringing machine learning use cases to him, he don't understand. He will not understand. He needs to be in a particular condition where he can understand the things, he can relate to it, and then can stay wise after taking right decisions. Same is with our ecosystem, that if you are having data readiness appropriately, then only we can say that we can implement all those strategies perfectly. So right now, if you can see, we are having, let's say, the very first stage wherein the system or the organizations, they don't have either the machines, right set of machines, or maintenance information available. So in that case, it's a kind of a reactive maintenance mode or the maturity, wherein they will be just reacting on the event of a failure, right? So for example, a fire broke out or something abnormally is being traced out in the organization. This kind of anomalies would be there. Uh, when there is limited or inadequate machine and maintenance data, it goes to level 2, where preventive maintenance comes into play, when we can measure those particular KPIs and we can at least get some information. But that doesn't help me to have an optimized workaround. Next is the data is also accessible but mostly unused. I have got right data, right team over there to understand this data, but the thing is the capability from the AI or machine learning side is not there, so we cannot use it for a strategic motive. Maybe for operations we can use it, but not for strategical workarounds. So we have partial machine condition monitoring and efficiency driven KPIs, which are coming under this category. Category number 4, the maturity level 4, is majorly where there is data which is employed for basic machine condition monitoring. Plus, the partial machine condition monitoring is more aggressive here. So I'm not saying that it is a kind of a huge shift from here, but the thing is, at least we have some kind of users or stakeholders who can definitely leverage this information and can make the systems better and better. But still, there is one gap that they cannot automate it, because that advancements will come at the 5th stage, where they work on automated KPIs, monitoring, taking the decisions in a nutshell. Yeah.
So what would we say? It's kind of a level where everyone should be. I'm sure not at 5, but I think can we say that we should the first goal should to reach to the level of 4?
Exactly. I mean, that should be the low hanging one for us. So I think most of us, those who are not having that kind of ecosystem where they're already having the PDM action in place, they can at the fullest level they can start at 4.
And how challenging this would be for an organization to start maybe again first to assess and then to reach to that level of 4. How easy, how challenging that would be, and what kind of a support Compinel can provide onto those things to
So where there
assess.
are challenges, there are opportunities. If there is having internal challenges, there could be external vendors or partners who can get associated like us, and then we can safeguard these kind of interests. If there are challenges externally that they are not getting right vendors, getting a right vendor again is a kind of a solution to that. So I think right partner is the final answer to any of the challenges, be it internal or external. Unbiased authority who can take care of all the things in a proper governance mode. So that's what exactly is required at this juncture, I guess.
Fair enough. Thanks for this insight. Now I would like appeal to the audience just to, now there'll be a poll question on the screens. So just spend a time to answer that, and then we can continue our. There's only one question we have. Which tools and technologies does your organization use for maintenance data analytics? It's a basic spreadsheet tools and with manual analysis, a dedicated maintenance management software, but have no advanced analytics. Advanced analytics you have, but not dedicated for the maintenance, and then advanced predictive maintenance platform with dedicated analytics. So just whichever feels you being very close to, I think, and that's being followed at your organization, feel free to mark your vote or poll. Okay, I hope we have done that. Moving on to our next slide, and again ahead in the webinar. Now I think we talk about different what kind of case studies we have seen, what kind of an output. Now we talk about how Compinel is doing that, how Compinel is helping industries and market what kind of engagement model we have at our end. So just to give you that overview, there are 3 different areas where we work kind of hand to hand. Now, those would be one, the smart devices. When you talk about smart devices, those are edge computing devices, those are sensors, IoTs. With the help of those IoTs, the subject matter experts, which bring the value, the domain value, the domain knowledge. I think the combination of two, then the person next is a co-speaker, their intelligence, AI and ML, the team of Ravi, I think that they take care of the complete aspect end to end, make sure we have a end-to-end solution, talk about very specific cases, I would say, rather than be generic. So we that's the process we follow, make sure that we have those reliable and related devices working with the domain expertise, and on top of that, we have ALML. So I think that's the process we follow at Compunal, and that's more of a framework that we follow. So moving on to that, as Ravi mentioned, when we talk about what are the challenges and how we can do that. So, and you rightly said, I think it's more of what we are picking. There are too many, there's a crowded market. So from an industry standpoint, while talking to multiple clients and prospects in our earlier sessions with the clients, I think one thing I have witnessed is more of what to pick, what to choose, what are those parameters we'll say, okay, these are the areas or these are the vendors basis which can help us. So too much, I would say, overcrowded market in terms of everyone offering every kind of services, be it predictive maintenance, be it analytics. It's more of predictive maintenance versus preventive analytics. It's more of analytics we are there talking about. Apart from this, the past failures, the kind of experiences industries has with all sort of vendors they've been associated with, maybe some again, and that's with the mismatch of those expectations that has taken into the trust deficit between them. And that's one, I would say that's a fear. It's a mindset they don't want to get into, and with that same kind of experience, they don't want to repeat that experience. So that's, I think, the key part. But apart from that, the other, which is again key, is the niche requirement, the varied requirement. So no two industries, no two organizations within the same industry, they may have a same challenge. Now, what kind of those scenarios, how to handle those, I think those needs to be converted into, those need to be handled as a part of predictive maintenance. And again, when we talk about the Compunal way, that's what we follow. So the first and the foremost priority is no two solutions, because no two problems are the same. So we have a tailored made approach. The solution that we are offering is specific to the market, specific to the problem. And that helps us to build a partnership with our clients, with customers. And with that, whatever we have achieved so far, it's a kind of on top of what expertise in-house we have in terms of in shape of Ravi and his team, those devices, domain expertise, where I take care of all those SMEs. And then we help with all these combination of these, we help our clients and to make their operations optimized, giving them those enough information, analytics, and ways and means to prevent and predict those instances. So this gives us a strategic advantage. I'll take that as the key is the domain knowledge. And then the solution that we work out is around the return on investment. So every ROI being close to CFOs, C-level executives, I think this is very close to everyone. So we make sure that our focus is ROI just to help and how we can give that return back to the industry. Again, for those, the approach, I think the key benefits, what I see, and that was initially we talk about our 3 mantras: the economic growth, sustainability, and enhanced safety. And this varies from industry to industry. The quantum, again, whether it's a manufacturing industry or it's a banking industry, be it aviation, I would say the energy, I think it varies from industry to industry. What kind of benefits, what kind of a quantum of benefits they have. So moving on to the next, I think now we can talk about a quick demo. This is again, Ravi, is where you can just take us through how you have achieved this, what are the different parameters and kind of platforms. So it's over to you now.
Thank you, Manish, and dear audience, that we are aware that when it comes to equipment failure analysis, be it of any domain, it's very important to have that single dashboard wherein we can see that how exactly the equipments are working, what is the condition, where are the anomalies, and how exactly we are triggering them. So all these things in a nutshell should be on a dashboard. So we have devised the dashboards in such a way that we are connected with those sensor devices in real time. That big data or a kind of a structured, unstructured data set object it is. So anything could be there within the timeline. So it could be a time series data coming in, it could be a sensor data coming in. Everything can be worked out accordingly. So how exactly the solutioning is done, you can see that all the protocols, like including MQTT protocols, the policies, the profiles, the devices, everything is being integrated with the system, and we are leveraging the kind of applications which we can integrate with our cloud-based workarounds, right? But how exactly this front end has been evolved is nothing else but there is a strong backend behind the scenes. So you can see that I'll just play a small video for you guys. So we can see that how we are creating the solutions on one single platform. There are so many platforms which are coming up every day. I think everybody's aware on that. So where we do the real-time processing, event handling, then alert generations, machine learning programming, and at the same time visualization. So all things at one go. So let's see this small use case which we have brought for you. Just give me a second. I'm just playing that. So now you can see that we have got a device which is getting registered to our cloud account. And then after registering that device, we are integrating it further to have IoT hub frameworks wherein we can see the dashboards quickly, effectively on the kind of sensor records. We can see where exactly the things are a bit deviating from the normals or as per the thresholds. And then maybe we can, also have STM analytics basically. That is nothing else but our stream analytics jobs, which we have, written in such a way that even a big data handling could be easily worked out. So Spark frameworks is being also utilized. Triggers are generated on the basis of these catalog logics, which are set from the machine learning point of view. Past record is also captured. Historical data, real-time data, all these things helping us to have a better ecosystem. And in the end, what do we do is we just have that particular mechanism where we integrate our visualizations, and there you can see that final dashboard would be a kind of a output of these particular backend workarounds. So thanks to the senior data scientist teams who are working endlessly in terms of creating these kind of innovative solutions, and they're helping us to evolve all together with better ROIs with the clients.
So Ravi, just a quick query here. So is it something mandatory where we have to, now we talk about the machine to machine, you talk about earlier the machine to machine communication. So is it that now all those machines and the devices and assets are pre-embedded with these sensor and smart things? If that's the case, how we can leverage, how the industries from the last 10, 15 years, whatever the investment they have done on their assets, how they can leverage the kind of a power of IoTs and sensors.
As I already told you that, most of the times it's wireless sensors, kind of a categories of sensors which we are working right now upon. The edge devices are there wherein exactly the machine learning computing, everything can happen on the device with tiny ML. So these kind of innovations can be there. They need not throw right away the kind of the physical infrastructure they're already having, but they just need to integrate and migrate to the systems while using those particular, past previous information from which were generated from the data coming in from those particular legacy based systems. So I think that would be the case of data readiness and appropriate digital measurements, and let's say measures to have a transition phase from a legacy to modernized approach. I think that would help us, and therein
Got
again,
it.
yeah, we can help them.
No, I think that's this is good again, and that's where I'm sure the audience would be interested to know how we can do that. Sure.
So now, how we can do that is quietly. We winners don't do the different things; they do things differently, right? So the thing is that how differently we are doing it. So we are taking the onus of making the system more secure, safe, and bias-free. So it's error-free environment which we work upon. We have a unique explainable AI practice we have. So right from training the models to working on the QA process, deployments, predictions, A/B testing, and all, we have a feedback loop over there which continuously we will get evolved, have better observability and interpretability from the models. That's how exactly we have kept a particular control over the entire ecosystem of whatever is being generated by AI. It's basically artificial, it's not conscious. So to make it conscious AI from artificial intelligence itself is a very tedious task. To use that, we are having comprehensive dashboards for explainability, component commits, basically on responsibility and governance side. And at the same time, it's on having our platform solutions have essence of explainable AI ops on the top of advanced analytics services.
I think this is again the approach you rightly said. It's doing things differently. So I think.
So most of the clients, they say that, hey, how exactly my data is secured? Because we are sending the information and then how exactly we can make sure that every information, every particular single observation is critical for us. So for every single observation in the given data set, we are encrypting it properly, we are giving it to the machine learning engineers, model it, giving it back in the framework of encrypted results. They are being decrypted again and then sent back to the users. That's how exactly we work on differential privacy, or let's say federated learning, and the network security setups for the clients. Yeah.
Sure. I think this is great. Now, again, I think this is one very quick where we always talked about, and I've done that in terms of smart devices. Now, how they work, or it's a high level architecture in terms of how they behave, how they work, all these smart equipments. So let's quickly get into that, where help us again understand, I would say, though it is very simple, but again, I'm sure these sensors and hardwares now being with the essence of technology and with the change in the time, I think all those are pre-embedded, correct?
Pre-embedded plus nanotechnology is coming. So you can now see that with the nanotechnology in place, we can have a lot many devices which can be integrated with your any ecosystem, be it a smart home, it could be a kind of a smart factory, it could be a smart city. Wherever we can, think of the solutions, definitely we can employ them easily. And these sensors help us to have the metadata coming in, which can be sent on the cloud hassle-free. And the cloud platform, as I mentioned, that they are having one single ecosystem to have data lakes and one lake strategies. We can have better visualizations and analytics further.
And
Yeah,
I'm sure, sorry to cut. I'm sure this is again not any specific cloud dependent or any kind of
right.
Technology dependent.
Exactly. We can make it on-prem as well, so there is no point. And worrying about that, hey, do I need to migrate now from one system to another? No, it's wherever you are having those systems in place, and let's say machinery or equipments which you have in your factory premise, or service industry, they're having some data centers, ATM machines. We can right away deploy these kind of solutions.
Great, great. And I think that gives the flexibility to the audience again, to
Yeah.
everyone again, and to sure pick and choose rather than going to one set of solutions. So
Perfect.
great. I think now this is where we are almost at the end of our webinar. Just before we conclude, I think that's what I would like to share exactly at a component what we are working on at present, and this is for our different set of clients and different projects that we are working with. So first is this is a UN initiative, and we are trying to support them by it's kind of a digitization of 1,000 villages. And this is an initiative at their part of food and agriculture organization with them. We are trying to share our and kind of contribute there in terms of how we can digitize those villages. Then we talk about the packaging industry. I think this is AI being very clear in terms of how and what kind of smart packaging we can do. So it's not about smart cities, smart factory, or smart car. It's all about smart packaging. It's more of a process where with the data, with that particular data on that packaging, what kind of analytics we can bring. Then talking about solar power monitoring, it's again very close to what we have done, a very similar case study, but this is something a totally different challenge. And to make sure that we maintain and have those power failure predictions. The fourth one, it's again serving the mother nature. This is more around air and water pollution. So we are moving ahead now talking about soil and agriculture. I think this is where the irrigation based on the soil, what kind of fertilizers to be used. This is more of what we're doing. And the last one, I think I'll take that privilege back to Ravi, anomalies detection. So what exactly is this? Just help us understand.
So anomalies basically are kind of abnormal behavior coming in, be it from the stock market side, or be it coming from let's say the kind of the sensor or the devices. We treat them all together because they have some kind of a stochastic movements, right? They have some random walk which we need to identify, and then we need to predict. So right away from the casino side, we are working on, let's say, how exactly anti-money laundering practices can be curbed and can be worked out. We are also dealing with the NDY classification kind of projects, wherein we can also help the industries and let's say the organizations wherein they can safeguard the vegetations. When we say vegetation safeguarding, it's basically identifying on remotes via the remote sensing workarounds and with the particular image classifications.
Sure.
Police direction with major steel plant which we are working upon in United States is basically wherein we are helping them to have anomaly detection kind of a platform wherein in every factory, like they have some around 17 factory premises, where in every factory they're having 95 sensors installed. So for 95 multiplied with 17, this is the kind of a number which we get, and on the base of that, we get some daily records of data which is coming, which is changing every 5 seconds. So this is what exactly is the complex workaround. So we'll
I
leverage
totally
there as well.
understand I can only understand the magnitude of the data you're getting. No, this is interesting stuff. Let's move on. I think we are just closing to the time mark. And now what lies there in the future is again where how AI again can leverage and how we can leverage as part of the maintenance part. And not only maintenance, it's about making sure that we are making effective the product, the services that we are offering to our end customers. We're making sure that we are making that smart and helping our end customers. With that, I would like, time may not permit us, but we'll make sure that we have received few queries with us. So we'll make sure that we will be sending those, responding those to all those queries, and you'll be getting those as part of your email.
Right. We are getting so many of them, so I think we can within the due time we can revert on, let's say, a couple of them, and for the remaining ones what we can do is we can also reach them back, or they can reach to us, right?
So one thing again, one common question that we keep getting again, I think we have already addressed in terms of when is the right time and what is the right time to kind of start getting into the predictive maintenance part?
Right. So basically, when we talk about getting a right time for predictive maintenance, is whenever you identify that I'm observing some kind of failures in my ecosystem, no matter what you have employed the solutions into the system, but what let's say you have identified that, hey, now I'm getting these failures. The moment you understand that there are failures, there could be failures, immediately have that action plan ready, because I told you that where there is an action, there would be a failure. So
Got it.
just that FMEA approach, wherein you can go ahead with the implementation of the predictive maintenance strategies. As I mentioned, first of all, get the proper assessment done. Basis that assessment, it would be suggested that, hey, what kind of let's say implementations we need to have right now as per the data readiness, as per ecosystem readiness, machinery integrations with sensors. So that all needs to be analyzed. But yeah, the moment you see that there is an action, there is a failure, just go about it.
So very quick, we'll take one particular question which comes: how cheap Chat GPT is again helping PDM?
Yeah. So when we talk about, let's say, predictive maintenance, again, from the ChatGPT point of view, it is basically employed wherein you have huge, let's say, tons of records coming in from the manual observations. It could be like most of the factories which we visit, we see that, there would be the kind of BMs are written by humans, which are, the workforce which is there in the floor, and they are actually taking the records of the machines. They don't have right, let's say, methodologies, or let's say sensors in place, or maybe they are not having PLCs which can emit this particular data set. For them also, it is very important, because that text data can be analyzed in a better way, and the recommendations can be sent on the top of it. Otherwise, if you talk about checklists, manuals, that particular recommendation on the base of those, and then integrating with the quality system of your health check of the devices or equipments, it's very tricky. So therein we can definitely leverage GPT environment, wherein they
Sure.
are very aware from the domain side as well.
No, I think we can we have a couple of questions again coming up, but let's keeping the interest of time for everyone. We'll make sure that we have all those answered, responded over the email. Moving on next, I think this is exciting. So we have a kind of an offering here. All those who have attended this webinar, they are getting, it's kind of a 1 hour hands-on workshop with Dr. Ravi to understand what exactly is there. We can go through end to end in terms of how it's purely complimentary 60 minutes of workshop with Dr. Ravi. Meeting link is there in the chat box. So just feel free to book your calendar with Dr. Ravi and understand how you can leverage the power of AI within your ecosystem.
Definitely, yes. And there are so many questions coming in continuously. But yeah, one more thing I think we can work out is basically people are asking that, hey, how exactly the GPT is leveraged for banking. So we are also working on major banking projects wherein we are working on Treasury GPT also, creating the knowledge base from the Treasury department, working on those particular policies, setting up the right action plan for investments, long-term, short-term, and mid-term investments, hedging strategies, and all, we can definitely make use of GPT environments. Not only GPT, but the other models are coming in. So definitely, yes, we can make use of that. Yeah.
So there was a question. So we have this link in the chat. Feel free to get into the chat and book your calendar with Dr. Ravi. So that meeting link is in the chat of this Zoom meeting.
There are some more questions on oil particulate contamination using AI. So definitely, yes, we can leverage, let's say, the viscosity-based sensors, and which helps us to understand the fluid mechanics and what exactly is the kind of, what we can say, the sensor readings for those particular oil particulates. Apart from that, obviously, with minute visionary aspects, that is, computer vision also can help us to get into that. So both ways we can use. Like, we can also work on the density part. We can also work on these sensor parts coming from the visions. Yeah.
Sure. No, I think let's move. I think this is now we've come to the end. Feel free to reach out to us and appeal to the kind of audience. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Pleasure hosting you here. Feel free to reach out to us on LinkedIn, and we'll be able to help you on responding your queries.
Thanks, everyone.